anybody in here bought into any ICOs at all?
Yes.
Yeah, just a few, very few. Any IPOs at all? No, definitely not. Okay. Yeah? Okay, well, big man on campus here. So anyway, the point is now is a great time because eventually, you know, regulation may come and we may not be able to take advantage of these ICOs where they're at. So definitely seeing big gains in the ICO world because typically in the ICO phase you're able to buy in at a little lower amount, you know, less than $1 usually in most cases, and I'll get to that in a minute as well. But and then if it's a good program, it gets presented to the market and it blows up. So definitely a good thing to look at, but they're also very risky as well. So I definitely want you guys to know some of what I'm going to be talking about. I like to call kind of the dark web of ICOs or cryptocurrency, but it's all unregulated. So you know it's all very risky, to be honest with you. So different types of ICOs. I've kind of categorized ICOs a few different ways here. Traditional businesses, companies like Overstock, which do accept many different cryptocurrencies, I believe. I'm not sure how many, but there's a ton. There's over 10 or 20, I believe, that they accept as payment, so that's pretty cool. And I believe I heard they're starting their own coin, which is pretty neat. So you have that. Then you have the crypto-based ICOs that have come about because of cryptocurrency. Things like co-vesting, things like Salt, which is an actual loan backing company. Is pretty cool. Electronium, I'm sure some of you guys have probably heard of that. That's based around an app that you can mine the coin from your phone, so that's kind of cool. I actually bought into some Electronium. Anybody else holding any Electronium? Yeah? I bought into that in the ICO phase and just sold some of it to pay for a trip this weekend to go see the Saints versus Panthers, so I'm pretty excited about that. Mining companies like Envion Mining, which I'm all about. This is one of the ICOs, however, that we can't purchase here in the US. You have to be overseas and they verify your ID, all that kind of stuff. So if anyone knows how you can help me invest into that, I need to talk to you because I would...
you try to VPN?
Yeah.
It's not just about they literally check your ID. You have to have an ID that's outside of the US. They go through a lot of different steps to make sure you're not a US resident.
British Virgin Islands Trust.
I'm sorry?
British Virgin Island Trust. There's trust companies you can hire in the Virgin Islands that will do it.
Okay, cool. All right, that's interesting. Maybe talk to me later. Lending platforms, or I'm sorry, I skipped over. USI Tech, Genesis Mining, all these are mining companies that went through an ICO phase at some point. Lending platforms like BitConnect. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of that. Anybody holding any BitConnect or in BitConnect? Yep, cool. Poly Network, DevourCoin. These are all lending platforms. And I'm going to get a little bit more into those specifically in a minute here, because that's kind of the route that I have taken. Not necessarily for the lending aspect of it, but I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. HYPs. This is something to be aware of and be very careful. Most of them are in business for a month or two. Essentially, most of these are you can call them a scam, pretty sure and honest. Don't recommend investing. One of my rookie investments was investing in the Laser Online. I actually put a little bit into Control Finance as well. I know I was talking to one of you guys about something about RM Bank, I think. Yeah. These are all gone now. They disappeared off the face of the earth. They took a bunch of everyone's money and
Hype sites.
Hype sites. Yep. HYIP. High yield investment program. The lending platforms like BitConnect, Poly Network, Devour, you could kind of classify them as hype as well. However, they are connected to a coin, so they have a little bit more going for them, and they make a good amount of money on the appreciation of their coin, and I'll talk about that in a second as well. So, next. Where to find all this? Where are you going to find these ICOs? How do you find out about them when they're first presented to the market? YouTube is honestly my number one, it's the number one thing I use, and CoinMarketCap too. These other three, honestly, CoinSchedule, ICO Watchlist, and ICO Hotlist, They're a dime a dozen. You can go onto Google and search for, you can just search what's the hot ICO, and you get 20 or 25 of those sites that come up, and they'll list all the ICOs that are going on. I don't like necessarily one better than the other. To be honest with you, like I said, my best source is YouTube. And I'll talk about YouTube in a second as well. CoinMarketCap, I think that's my next slide. I'm going to talk some about that. But CoinMarketCap, you see a lot of advertisements on CoinMarketCap. Let's see what we got here. Okay. It's just a listing. Pardon me. CoinMarketCap is great. There's a lot of great information on there. You can go to historical, coin listings. There's tons of great information on here. But don't take it as the end-all be-all. It is just a listing. They'll list just about anything on their site, and which is why you'll see all these advertisements like, what did I put on here? Profitable morrows. That's one I've been seeing the last few days. It's all over there. This is a hype site. Watch out for that. Definitely something that I don't expect to see. Laser Online used to be advertised heavily on there. I'm sure some of you guys seen it. So watch out for those. I'm not saying that you can't make money in those, but I would stay away personally. That's just my
I'll second that.
my person. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Definitely a lot of things to stay away from, so I definitely want to touch on that. That's basically it. And you don't see Laser Online on there anymore because they're gone. So lending platform ICOs, these are really hot right now. BitConnect, I'll get to that in a second. The demand for this is crazy right now because it's easy. It's what do you have to really do. I'm gonna get to exactly how it works in a second, but the demand is extremely high for this. That being said, they are very, very high risk. So I would consider any cryptocurrency investment high risk, just like I said before, because the crypto world's unregulated, and any of these could disappear without a trace at any second, just like Control Finance, just like Laser Online, just like these other guys. So just be careful there. What is a lending platform? How do they work? Real quick. It all started with BitConnect. Invest Bitcoin, you essentially invest it into their platform, you get BitConnect back, okay? BitConnect coin is their coin. You invest that, you loan that to their platform, and they give you a daily percentage return on it, okay? It's a very risky investment because who knows how long this is going to be around. Point of this, I'll get to the point in a second. How are they sustainable? As I said, the coin itself, as soon as the ICO hits the market, you buy in the ICO for very cheap. And as soon as it hits the market, the demand is so high, it pops in price. It's crazy. Regardless, good or bad speculation, because there's tons of bad speculation with BitConnect and a lot of these other programs as well, Devor, Poly Network, which I mentioned a few minutes ago. You never know. But regardless, there is money to be made on the coin itself in the ICO phase. Whether you're going to actually use the program for what it is and actually lend with the program, which I don't necessarily recommend, there's still money to be made in these ICOs for these lending platforms. So this is my kind of whole strategy with this. And again, this is a little bit more advanced especially for you guys that are newbies, but I'll go through it real quick anyways. So in the ICO, like I said, it's usually less than $1, less than a couple dollars. The point is to get in for less than $1 or very close to it. Don't buy it once it hits the exchange, unless you're actually using it for what its purpose is for. The whole purpose is buying less than $1, and once it hits that exchange, it pops. So it's gonna be more. Anyways, if you miss the ICO, then you missed the boat. That's really all there is to it. As soon as it hits the exchange, you sell, recoup your investment ×2. You hold on to a little bit, but you get in and get out. That's the whole name of this, as far as what I'm doing personally here. I'm seeing a lot of gains from it. Not to say I'm also seeing a lot of gains from Ripple, especially the last few days, the last week or so. So it's this isn't necessarily a better way to go, but this is where I'm at right now. Depending on the platform, I may hold a little bit of the coin back and actually use the platform as a loaning platform, because at that point I've made my money, and then I can get some daily interest payments for as long as that program is going to be around. You hold on to a little bit. Obviously, there's going to be some appreciation with the token if it's hyped that much. Especially, this is one of the reasons I use YouTube, because you can see what coins are being hyped. You can see which ICOs are being hyped, whether it's a lending platform or a traditional ICO. YouTube's a great thing to check, because there's tons of YouTubers out here that are getting referral. I put this somewhere on here. I think it's the next slide. Yeah, here we go. I'll get it out of order, sorry. I get super excited about this. Obviously, warning, okay, so these are my warnings, and I already gave you some warnings, but this is definitely stuff to look out for. Every one of them, including BitConnect, they're the ones that started it all, like I said before. They have some type of compounding or reinvestment feature where you can compound your daily interest that that they're paying you back into the platform, which is of course what they want you to do, because the more of their coins that are tied up into the platform, the more their coin goes up in value. So it's win-win for everyone really, but them the most. So just be careful with the compounding and reinvestments if you're doing any type of loaning with these platforms. They give you numbers that are pretty crazy. Just watch who you're listening to. Don't always believe all the hype, and do your own research. I think this is only the first time I've said that, but I had it in the slide. I must have skipped over it a couple other times. Do your own research. Do your due diligence, because there's a lot of crap. There's a lot of crap out there, and it's easy. It's very easy to lose money in this industry. And any of us that have invested probably any money, whether it's this type of stuff or anything, we all know that. So, again, I would recommend you only loan with these platforms using money that you maybe made in an ICO pit. I wouldn't recommend just throwing a bunch of money necessarily into a lending platform and expecting it to, be around forever and pay you a bunch of money back. Be careful who you're listening to. This is when I was talking about YouTubers. There's some good guys out there that really care about the public, and they're not all about the referral programs. They give back, things like that. But most of these guys out here are all about the referral commissions, and every single one of these lending platforms, and most ICOs, at least that I've seen in general, have some type of referral code or referral thing. Even a lot of exchanges, Binance, Cryptopia, a lot of those I know have, referral. Coinbase. Come on, you get a $10 referral for Coinbase, which, anyways, it covers your it covers your transfer fees since they're so high. Anyways, just be careful who you're listening to, because these guys are out here making tons and tons of monies in referral commissions, and some of the sites are actually paying the YouTubers directly. They'll give them X amount of dollars just to hype a certain site. So just be careful. Make your own decisions. Don't invest in something just because someone said it was good. Make sure you actually believe in what you're putting your money into. And that's also always not necessarily the case with me. I sometimes take some risks. But just in general, definitely be careful what you're doing. And I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not qualified for any of this. I've been in this industry for about 8 months maybe, but I'm at it every day doing research, and I have a lot of information up here to share. So that's my email. If you guys have any questions, always feel free to email me. That's all I really got though.
Actually, Mike Chandler is going to talk a little bit about ICOs too, but do you guys have any questions for Tyler?
I had one question.
That's Tyler, I don't know why I called him Casey.
That's
Tyler.
So one of the reasons I've stayed away from ICOs is like if you scroll back on it, like 90% of the altcoin charts, they dump as soon as they hit the exchange. Is there any way to hedge like against that? Because it seems like if you're trying to hold it and you're not dumping it as soon as it hits the exchange, then you're going to lose half your value.
Good question.
Exactly. So it's just it's really all about just doing your research and kind of feeling it out. You know, trying to find the right people to listen to that aren't just
Right.
out there for the referral commissions. You know, I mean, like I said, most of my information, that's a lot of where I'm getting it from. Obviously, I'm reading these companies' white papers and whatnot, but I mean, they're kind of a dime a dozen, to be honest with you. So it's risky. It's very risky. This specific route that I've taken, I feel is a little more risky than anything else in general, personally. But the returns are great too. So I at least wanted to touch on some things for you guys to watch out for. This is stuff good stuff to be aware of. Whether you jump into any of these type of programs or ICOs or anything, just good things to know and watch out for. And I feel like it's kind of the big elephant in the room sometimes, talking about BitConnect, because there's so much scam talk about it, and who knows really how they're making their money or how they're paying it out. You don't really know. But I want to give you guys at least a warning and show you what's up out there.
Awesome.
I just wanted to add to and connect 2 points that you made, combined with what Tyler mentioned. When you're getting into an ICO, it is generally keep it to people that are advanced and know what they're doing. The biggest thing that happens, why you see that big spike in the beginning and then it drops, is that's everybody that did the pre-investing recouping their investment. So if you got into an ICO at $1 and it goes up to $2, you sell it all off, and that's why you see that big drop. Everybody that helped get it started gets repaid, and I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but people tend to see that, oh, we hit the exchange, and they get caught into that, and they pull it, and they start buying into it on the exchange, which was the second point you mentioned, as when an ICO happens, don't necessarily buy it on the exchange, because chances are it'll drop after that.
Don't
So
do it,
if
I've
you
done it.
are doing ICOs, and
I've done it too.
you research it and that was something you got, recoup your money early. Do not expect it to hold that $2, $3 or whatever it rose to, okay? And then when it hits the exchange, let it settle down and then buy back in or something along that. But it kind of merged the 2 points you mentioned combined with what he was saying. So it's nothing necessarily wrong because it shoots up and dumps. That's everybody that helps get that coin started, recouping their investment. But if it actually has a utility or some other use, as he pointed out, then get it on exchange, and that's after it settles out. I thought it kind of married those 2 points.
That was perfect.
Combined with his.
Any other questions or anything?
So how do you know, like, if a particular ICO is a lending platform, or if it isn't a lending platform, do they still get the referral fees? Is it more legitimate at that point?
Yeah, a lot of them that aren't necessarily lending platforms are giving you referral fees in the token or the coin itself. You know, depending on a.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I want to hit on the lending platforms because I just recently got involved in one, and I'd like to say it's the best thing since Bernie Madoff. It's amazing.
I love it.
I'm making money. I'm making a great. Basically, what the lending platforms are, in theory, they got amazing videos. I mean, the BitConnect actually has a meeting with, you know, big gigantic room. They gave away a Aston Martin. They gave away a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, all live in front of everybody to their top traders and top investors. But in a nutshell, what the lending platform, and then I'll get into some other ICOs too. I won't take over your part. But
No,
I
you're
wanna
cool.
Finish up on some stuff. A lending platform is a way, and this is my version of it, is they started an ICO, they saw the market growing and it's expanding rapidly. I haven't done the experiment yet, but I want to do is you put $1,000 in Bitcoin at a certain time, you put $1,000 in a lending platform at the same time. The lending platform actually takes the capital, and they have what they call Autobot, which is a trading robot, which basically scours the marketplace and trades. It might trade 100 times an hour, and they have certain rules in there. And as the market is expanding, it can make a lot of money. And what they do is they pay you a percentage of income. If you put in $1,000, it's the basic interest rate. If you put in $5,000, it's that rate plus 2%, plus another 20% of 1%, up to like 1.2%, up to 1.5%. So what that does, and I've talked to a lot of people that's invested in it, it pays that on a daily basis. So you can take that cash out, put it back in your pocket, and you can get your money back out pretty quick within, months. And, I'm not, that's their words. I haven't seen it yet. I have seen some money come back. I've chose to reinvest it to see it grow, because you put that in the reinvestment chart, and it does some amazing stuff. Now, my theory is, like I said with the Bernie Madoff thing, because, everybody I've talked to says, oh, they're Ponzi schemes. I'm not answering, I'm not saying it is, or I'm saying it's not, but I'm following the coin. It's growing tremendously, and it has been over the last few years. And there's been a lot of people on YouTube making money off of it. They do have a real good referral program, and they pay those referrals pretty good for getting people on the platform. But they're taking the money and investing in the marketplace.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. That's what they say. And yes, I have been getting. I mean, I got over 2% back in one day. So you put some money in there, and it can replace a standard income with a fairly small amount of capital on there. So that's BitConnect. There's ETHLend. There's the INS, or no, not INS. USI. There's a couple. There's 5 different programs on there. And there's a YouTube video out there that I watched the other day to where the guy took $150,000 and invested it in 5 different programs. And according to his calculations, he was going to get back $62,000 a month, which, I haven't seen the fourth. He was just starting here, so I want to see in a month if they actually got that back. But hey, it sounds like a good investment there. But that is extremely, I do not endorse it. We do not endorse it. We're still learning about it like you guys, because it is a high-risk stuff. They say anytime you hear something that's too good to be true, it's usually too good to be true, so I'm still kind of on that side of the thing, and I'm testing with a little bit of money to see if it actually works. But it's a neat thing. Going back to the ICOs on there, I want to kind of jump on and did a great job of explaining the ICOs on there. I want to throw some other ideas out there, because I'm a huge ICO fan. I'm actually trying to launch an ICO myself. I'm trying to launch a coin, and got 2 or 3 potential utility coins that we're trying to launch. I'm going to be trying one as a coupon coin, which is for a little business owner here in town. So you might see that in the local papers and stuff here over the next few months if I can get it launched. But basically a coin is coming from a platform. And kind of rewind it a little bit, where did it come from? A guy by the name of Vitalik Buterin. Did I do that good?
That's good.
He's a young kid that looks like a skinny beanpole. It's like 22 years old. Not that that's anything what he looks like, but he doesn't look like a multi-billionaire, but he's a multi-billionaire. He was the editor of Bitcoin magazine, and he watched that for like 5 years and watched it grow up, and all the attention it was getting, and said, well, what a great idea. I think we could do it better. And he went to start a company called Ethereum. He got some investors, including Bill Gates, and raised $100 million plus, started Ethereum. What they did is they made the capability of doing altcoins, to where you can go there and you can write your own code, fairly easy, if you're good with code, and produce an ICO, which an ICO is an initial coin offering. So in essence, what I'm doing now is I'm going and taking that code, creating the code. You basically say how many coins you want to have. You want to have 21 million coins, just like Bitcoin has. How many coins you want to release to the mining community, a day, a minute, an hour, whatever, to build your mining community, which those are the people who process the transactions. And Ethereum actually already has that made, because they already have the coins processed on the Ethereum network. So a lot of these coins you see up here, not all of them, but a large portion of them are spin-offs, or actually they're called ERC20 tokens. And they are part of the Ethereum network. So I'm making an ERC20 token now. It'll be my token. I'm going to call it, I can't say yet, it's still top secret, but it's going to be there, and it's going to be an ERC20 token. Once it's in there, you actually work off the framework of what Vitalik Buterin built, which was the Ethereum network. That's the network he built. ETH is their token, Ethereum is their token, but the Ether is the network is what is really the meat behind the potatoes on that makes it work. So the ERC20 tokens, which a lot of these ICOs launch on, they basically build a website, say we're launching 21 million tokens, we're to launch them for $1 a piece, that's $21 million, that's our ICO. Or there's a lot of other things out there to where we're going to launch 21 billion tokens, and they're going to be a half a penny each, and when it comes out, it's usually the same. They raise between anywhere from $5 to $40–50 million as the initial offering. And I agree, I've seen a lot of them go out there that really, there used to be the Wild Wild West, because you could do it, anybody could do it. We could sit here tonight, we could write one tonight and launch it tomorrow, and there was nothing that we raised $20 million like that. I've seen people do it. I've known people that's done it. the thing about it now is the FCC is starting to go, wow, well, wait a minute, there's a lot of money pouring in this market here because of regulations on it. So now it's a lot harder to actually launch one. But the concept is still the same. You have to get through the regulations and actually do all the SEC filings properly now, if it's a certain type of coin. But once you write the coin and you build your website and say that it is, how many tokens you have, how many tokens you're going to, of those 20 million tokens, 40% are going to be sold to the public, 20% are going to be held for future use, 10%, and you actually name that off in your ICO. So people look at it and say, okay, here's the rules, here's how they're going to be distributed, and then they can kind of calculate their investment based off that. Then they have the ICO, and if they sell off, a lot of times you'll see a soft cap, meaning, we're going to try to get $40 million, but when the ICO launches, it may only raise $5 million. They have a soft cap. If it doesn't hit the soft cap, everybody gets their money back. So they don't have enough money to really function and operate and launch the coin. So they actually write the soft cap on there. I actually haven't seen any that missed their soft cap because I haven't watched a whole bunch of them in the last 6 months, which I've been following really hard. Most of them has hit their hard cap, which is the top end. It's where they say, wait a minute, we don't really need any more money because if we take more money here and we get investigated, they're going to ask you, what did you actually plan on doing with it because you didn't really need it, so why did you ask for it? So they actually got a hard cap on there, which is actually good for the investor. So on most ICOs, some ICOs don't, but they have the hard cap in there. And you'll see it, they'll always have on the front page how much they've raised and how long, and they do a good job about updating that. And when you want to invest in the ICO, it's do your homework because it's a little tricky the first few times you've done it. I'm in about 10 different ones right now, and I've got some that I've invested in 2 months ago, and I haven't even seen anything yet. But what they do is they write a contract. Once again, it's on the Ethereum network. Ethereum, the big thing about that is it's able to have contract language in the tokens. So Ethereum, that was one of the big things was, well, Bitcoin doesn't allow this, let's make a contract here. So you write a contract for an ICO, it says anybody who sends an ad or any address that you send from your Coinbase account or whatever to this token address, it'll automatically register that amount, it'll set a new address up, and it'll put the allocated number of tokens in that address. And then it basically just builds a database of addresses. And at the end of the ICO, they send those back out to the owners, just to whatever address it came from. So if you have don't do it on the Coinbase, you have to have a main wallet. But if you have a main wallet like Mist or Ethereum or a paper wallet like from MyEther wallet, you could actually send your money from the MyEther wallet to the ICO address. It'll tell you, we accept Bitcoin, Ether, most of them accept Ether, so I do all the time. You send it there, it registers you that it's been accepted, it'll tell you it's successful, and you'll have a little login to their ICO site. It'll show you your amount sitting there. It'll sit there in their tokens until the ICO is complete, and then it'll say we'll issue tokens within 2 to 4 weeks or 6 weeks after the ICO is over. What they're doing at that time there is they're gathering all together, verifying it's all correct, and they're trying to get it listed on an exchange. You can't do anything with it until it gets listed on an exchange. I have got some ICO money back instantly. What it does is the contract on the Ethereum network, and some other networks have similar stuff, but most of the tokens are on the Ethereum network. You send the money in, and it's just a digital signature. It's just literally your 84-digit hash address that you have coins attached to. You send it to the other hash address. The contract says, hey, here's 1 Ether. We are selling our tokens for 100 tokens for 1 Ether. So now this address has 100 of our tokens. And then when the IC is over, they press a button and it sends it right back to that address or whatever address you designate in it. You can change the address in the ICO. And you designate that in there, it will send it back to whatever address that is, which I always use the same one as long as this is here. And I have seen you can send your Coinbase or whatever money to an ICO as long as you put a hard wallet address in the receiving address on the way out. That way it goes back to your wallet. Now here's the fun part. It's always a running catch-up game on there. For example, they're doing a great job at getting all the coins listed on the exchanges and on the Ether wallet, but you'll notice when you go in there, sometimes the coin you just bought or the ICO that you just bought isn't listed there, and you start to get a little nervous. I did my first time. My first 3 or 4, I got real nervous. You actually have to go in and add the token yourself, which is interesting. There's a little button there that says Add Token. and you add token. It's actually on the chain, but because they haven't updated the chain, because these ICOs are coming out so fast that they haven't caught up. So you go in there, and the website will tell you, here's our contract address, and on the Ether wallet, it'll have enter contract address. Then it'll say enter the token symbol. Then it'll say enter the decimal points. That's always how many decimal points it has in their token. For example, I just bought one the other day, it had 18 decimal points. So you type in 18 there, and then you press add, and then boom, it shows up. And it's like, wow, it's magic. So you just created a coin in your Ether wallet. Now, down the road, 6 months, you won't have to do that because they'll have caught up and they'll have them all listed already. But if you go to your wallet and you look at that in the bottom right-hand corner, there might be 200 coins listed. And you have to load your amounts. You can actually have your Ether, your Ethereum coin, which is on Coinbase. When you set it to an offline address, Coinbase actually does the same thing, because when it comes down to it, an address is an address, whether it's with Coinbase or Etherbase or Ether Delta or Binance or whoever, it's an address on the network. So it's there. Coinbase doesn't give you your private key. They keep all those. So even though you have an address, you can't actually access your money unless it's through the Coinbase platform. A private key, I'm going to say that real quick, is this thing here. So nobody take a picture of this, because I'm going to hide this here. No cameras, please. If anybody gets that, that's all it takes. They got your money. So Jeremy, do not zoom in. These do have money on them, by the way. And we're giving away tonight, so somebody's going to get this one here, and I have another one here for some money. But we're giving us a little door prize here in a little bit. But that address there is private. Never show anybody that, 'cause you'll lose your money. But the other one is the public address. This is the one that's on the blockchain. So everybody who has a Coinbase address, everybody has one of these already. That's what you send your money to. Now, on the ICO, they'll have that. You'll want to send it back to the one, because if you send it to the one on Coinbase, you may or may not get your actual tokens, because they don't have it loaded in theirs. They publicly said, we don't want to mess with it because we don't have the capacity to do it. So don't use this wallet as a ICO wallet. So you'll want to get a MyEther wallet, and send it to that. Now, once it's sent back to there, I kind of went a little long-winded there, but once it's sent back to there, you add your tokens to there, and you can actually see that you have your Ether on there that you sent from your Coinbase. That establishes your wallet outside of Coinbase or outside of whatever, and that's your wallet. You can actually print that off, like I did here. Just press print wallet from my Ether wallet, and it will then have your Ether in it. And on the right-hand side, it says tokens. That's what the big thing about Ethereum is it allows all the side chains, all the tokens, and there's a bunch of them, and there's a bunch of them that are really big companies, and they're all in that side chain. If you don't have a MyEther wallet, I strongly recommend you to get one, and I'll tell you why. These ICOs and the regulations that's coming out are getting creative. I've got 10 or 20 wallets with $1 a piece and different money in each one of them that I've set up. I didn't realize you're supposed to use one for everything. I thought you had to have a different one for every account, so I made a bunch of them. Now I'm learning that I have to go back and transfer the money out. And you always leave what they call dust in the accounts, because sometimes you can't transfer all the money out because it costs gas to get the money out, which is I'll get to that in just a second. How much time I got? 15 minutes? Okay. Ethereum runs off gas. Believe it or not, it's gas. It's what he calls it. It's basically a fee. Very small fee, but a fee. You got to have the money in there. So I have all these addresses out here, these little paper things. I transferred them all back to one now because I realized you could put all your tokens in there. Now, when you have your address or you have multiple ones like I do, it's kind of good to have multiple ones because the ICOs are getting created because of the regulations. Remember I said they were coming out with regulations and they stopped it, now it's harder to do? China totally outlawed it, said no, you can't do regulations. At the time this was going on, I was following a company that I like. It was called, what's it called? It was called Tron. And I came across my radar and I was like, hey, that sounds cool. I know the guy who started the company through another company, the Alibaba, Jack Mao. I met his company 10 years ago back at a CES show in Las Vegas. It was a little bitty company then, but they've now become a very big company. His son-in-law works for this company, or brother-in-law or something works for it, and he started Tron. And Tron was the company that started, what's that game? Clash of Clans, anybody play Clash of Clans? We're probably too old to play Clash of Clans. My son plays Clash of Clans. But make a long story short, they were trying to do an ICO. China shut down. You can't do ICOs anymore because, they were like everybody else, kind of skeptical. There's a lot of scams going on out there. So what they're doing now, which is interesting, is what they're doing is called airdrops. And I'll try to speed this up. But make a long story short, fast forward 3 months, Tron never launched somehow, and I got tokens in my wallet. And I'm looking at my tokens, and I'm like, I got like 5 companies in there. I got Tron dumped in my wallet. I got another one called XXN. I don't even know what it is, but it was dumped in my wallet. It was $1. Now it's like $40, and I'm like, I got $40 for printing out a piece of paper. And now I'm actually investing in that. I invested in Tron and did very, very well. Holy cow! I didn't know what it was, but I was like, hey, it's growing. It went from like $1 to like $6 to like $8. So I'm gonna buy some of it. So I bought some of it, and I put an instant order in to sell it. Once it doubled my money, and 3 days later I got out of it, got my original money out, and so now it's still going up. It's crazy. I don't want to say I endorse it now because it's like a $10 billion company in the last week. And to put that in perspective, that's a lot of money. If we did the math on that, just to do a fair market 6% like CD bond interest, you have to do like $70 million a month to pay for a $10 billion company. So I don't see how they could convert that much money out of something that's nothing right now. But hey, it's still going up, so who knows? But airdrops, that's the way a lot of coins are going out now. So if you're not in the game and you just want to get it, go to myether.com, make a wallet up, and just play around with it. You might get some money. Who knows? Yes?
Real quick question so I can understand. Is it like Scott Trade or Ameritrade for wallet?
No, that's a good question. Good question. Here's the best part. I'm just learning this myself. I'm still kind of like freaked out over it because I'm like, the blockchain is a decentralized. So what you're talking about is a centralized computer system. And the whole revolution here of the decentralized blockchain network is blockchain is just that. It is a block of data that they lock down with cryptography. It's a magic formula. Locks it down to where it can never be touched. It's that data, and anybody can read it. It's public forever. Viren created the Ether blockchain. Satoshi Nakamoto created the Bitcoin blockchain. They're all data that's public that I actually have on this computer here right now. It's not online. I have other computers that are online that have the entire chain online hooked up to the network as a node. And every time a transaction is done, when you transfer money from this wallet to this wallet, to transfer, that transfer is basically like an email. All it is hash. It's just a big 64, it's like 64 or 84. It's a bunch of digits. It's like, it's a thing of numbers. It goes into a queue. All the miners in the world, which I actually happen to be, I'm trying to figure that out too. But look at the queue and go, okay, here's a transaction coming from me to Rob. I'm transferring $20, and it's going to charge 20 cents in gas. What the miners do, they look at the queue, and they process that transaction. They go there, make sure he's got an account. They go and make sure I got an account, make sure I got the money, and he's transfers to him, and it transfers that digital signature to his account, and it hashes all that out there. And that's what the basics of the network are. But that's a decentralized network. That's all visible to anybody. My Ether, going back to my question, sorry to get a little long-winded there, I'm very excited about this stuff. My Ether wallet is just a browser. I mean, it absolutely is nothing more than a browser. When you first log on, it's got a big pop-up that says, we are not a bank. We are not, the owners of any of this data. We just know how to look at the blockchain, and we make a little sign here that says, type in your private key, that's what, you can do it on any program in the world. On the blockchain, you can go to the blockchain, put your private key in, and you can get your money out. So my Ether browser is just a browser. It's like Internet Explorer. In essence, it's got 5 or 6 different ways you can access the blockchain, but it really doesn't do anything other than view it. So you can actually do your blockchain through my Ether. I've got another wallet, which I invested in an ICO. I finally downloaded their wallet. It created me a wallet, and I got my coins in that, and I was like, oh, and I noticed it was an Ether address. I was like, oh, this is an ERC20 token. So I actually went there, and it gave me a private key and a address just like this one here. I actually went to my Ether wallet to test it out and see, and it worked just like that piece of paper. So the address and the private key is the same no matter where you're at. And to correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows anything better than that, because That's the way it is on Ether, and from my understanding, that's the way it is on the other blockchains too. But, does that answer your question in a long version?
Yeah, they just charge gas,
Yes.
like broker fees.
Yes, gas is, that's why I'm intrigued about the mining aspect, because this network is growing like crazy, and there's a lot of transactions to be hashed or be transferred out there. And that's what the mining community does, is they look at that stuff and they figure out ways to keep up with the demand on there. It's a crazy business, but it's interesting. It's not as lucrative as actually investing right now, but eventually, hopefully someday it will be. But a good question. Any other questions? Bitcoin Crypto.News. We have an ICO link on the bottom, which will show you some upcoming ICOs. This is actually our website, so I didn't want to leave that out of there because we spent a lot of time on it. It's not perfect yet, but we're still working on it. And we have a link down the bottom, which is really great. Down here, which is upcoming ICOs. Down here at the bottom, live ICOs. You can click on these and learn about them, and then also upcoming ICOs. So do check that out on our website, and we'll be supporting this group here because it's one thing that all five of us literally are working on daily now. Try to get this website as much information as possible. So it's BitcoinCrypto.News. That's kind of that is our organization. So do go there and check it out. So
Will
yes.
that be all U.S. compliant? Like there was a coin out there, Token Pay, that a lot of people bought into and then got refunded back because it wasn't U.S. based.
You just gotta look.
Yeah, you got to look
You
on that.
gotta
That's a
look.
good point.
Yeah, because it probably could
We're not
not
actually vetting them, we're just
Okay.
a spot to find out about it.
be. Yeah. and
We're a news
they're
source for
all
that
new,
stuff.
so
We're just
yeah, they're
reporting.
all different. And they all come from different places. So I personally have only invested in one called Civic Coin, and that's about identity. And the only reason I did that is because there was actually a blockchain founder that started with them on Civic Coin. So I'm very conservative when it comes to these things. I do not like to jump or lose any money. So I make sure I want to know who's behind the coin, who's the CEOs, what are they doing, what's their marketing plan like, and just YouTube like Casey does, and just learn from other folks. So we were going to talk about top cryptos today, top cryptocurrencies, but if the advanced people want to split up and go to that front part, you're welcome to do that. Tyler will be up there. And I'm going to go over these top cryptos and talk about some exciting things that are going on.
I want to point out a key thing. If you're going to the advanced room, or if you're not sure which room you want to be in, actually, if you were looking into getting into charting, you're actually on exchanges and you're moving in and out of currencies, you probably do want to sit in the advanced room. If you're just now getting your account set up, you have an account, but you don't know exactly what to do with it, you want to stay in this room. So if you're intermediate to getting into forecasting and reading charts, playing around on multiple exchanges, head into that room. If you want to move up to that, stay right here. We're going to cover the top currencies and get into your questions to help you become more comfortable and have more understanding of what that is and what's involved with getting that done.
So I'm going to dazzle you with some numbers right now. And the other reason I really wanted the new people to hear about those ICOs first is because they're backed by what's called Ethereum. You heard Ethereum. Ethereum is just crossed the $1,000 line, by the way, and that's because that platform is being utilized all the time to create initial coin offerings. One thing they didn't talk about a little bit in detail about the initial coin offerings is they work like this. Anybody can do it. You can go on anytime, create your own coin, you can name it, you just set the amount that you want, and let's say for Bitcoin it's 21 million, you set a certain amount of coins, and then you put them out for offering initial coin offering to the public. Unregulated, right? Unlike an IPO, initial public offering, you'd have to give your financials to the SEC, you'd have to set a date, you'd have to be approved, and then you could offer it to the public. Initial coin offerings are unregulated, decentralized. That's how come they can raise a lot of capital very, very quickly. In fact, one company raised $240 million in 3 minutes. A lot of people are sitting on a lot of Bitcoin, a lot of cryptocurrencies. They look at these ICOs. They're like, oh wow, I can make a lot of money. I'm gonna jump into that. And like Casey, you see there, he buys, he gets an initial coin offering, and then he sells, right? So usually you'll see this huge spike, and then it'll go shoot, because all those folks sold, right? So you can even buy when it hits down here, right? Because you know it's gonna dip. So anyway, I just wanted you to know that. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the top cryptocurrencies, but in general, there are over 1,385 cryptocurrencies right now. That's a lot of cryptocurrencies. Some of them are here to stay, some of them will go away. But there is a market cap of now of $767 billion in cryptocurrencies in general. So there's a lot of money right now to be made. So what we utilize in order to keep track of all the cryptocurrencies is CoinMarketCap.com. CoinMarketCap.com. This is something you're going to want to download into you can get the app on your phone. I'm going to warn you, if it's on your phone, you're going to monitor all day long and you'll become a crypto nerd, okay? I just want you to know that.
There are multiple versions of CoinMarketCap, so
CoinMarketCap is the one.
try out a couple of them. I like the unofficial one.
Yes, I know.
I like that one, one of my favorites.
I don't recommend that one. I'm very conservative, so I go with the ones that most people utilize in general. So when you're new to cryptocurrency, most people will also use the exchange Coinbase to buy cryptocurrencies, just so you know. That's the most popular one. So here are the top cryptos. These are just today. Okay, so I just did top 10. We got Bitcoin at the top, Ripple, which just came into second, which is very exciting for me. But and then Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, NEM, Stellar, Tron, which you just heard about Tron. So Michael was here talking about Tron, right? He was, just because he knew the corporation is why he went in and made a lot of money now. And he turned us onto it too. So a lot of us have been got some also. Litecoin and then IOTA. And IOTA coin actually is very interesting. I'll talk a little bit about that one. Totally different than the rest of the coins because it is not built with the blockchain. Instead, it is built with what's called the Tango network. Blockchain was created in 2009. The software was created in 2009. Immediately after that, Bitcoin was created. So it was like a test currency, and now it's considered, the top right now as far as cryptocurrencies go. So Bitcoin is number one. We often will tell people in the past, if you were going to hold on to your portfolio, you want to have at least 80% in Bitcoin and then 20%. Now that's changed. Okay, so now it's changed. It's like 60-40 maybe, 50-50 for him. Okay. Well, everyone's different, but I'm very conservative, so I often tell people if you're going to buy cryptocurrency, start with Bitcoin. You have to anyway, or Ethereum. And go from there. Okay, learn what it's like, learn how to use it, learn how to trade with your friends and family first. Yes, sir.
One of the things I've heard recently is that a lot of the new cryptos have newer technology than Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin stuck with that old technology?
No, and actually I'm going to talk about that right now in detail. You're going to hear all about it. So Bitcoin is what is considered what they often call digital gold. It's the gold of cryptocurrencies, right? So what he mentioned is really, really important because they've had a problem. Bitcoin was not scalable. It needed to be faster in transactions. So that's been a problem with Bitcoin in general because it's not fast enough to keep up with a Visa, a MasterCard, who's doing 2,000 a minute, per second in transactions. Bitcoin has what's coming about what's called the Lightning Network, which just came live this week and was tested as off of a test and onto the mainframe. So Lightning Network is what is going to make those transactions super, super fast. So you often hear negative things about Bitcoin. It's not fast enough. This one's better. This one will work faster. Don't believe the hype, you guys. The fact of the matter is they're working on the Lightning Network. It's now live. It does work good, and that means that Bitcoin is very scalable. Means it can work on very, 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 very fast transactions. So if you would have came to our meeting back in September, a Bitcoin was only $3,978. Okay? Today, it is $15,008. So our meetings are very important to come to, so you can understand exactly what is the trends, where they're going, and how to make a lot of money. All right, in December though, it was $19,535. So we had a drastic drop, and we went down to 15. Well, actually, it went down lower than that. Went down to 13, and then jogged back up. 11, and then jogged back up. So that usually is kind of typical during December time for people sell off. There's some, chatter out there. Cryptocurrencies are all about news, you guys. If there's any news about cryptocurrency, anything out there that somebody's like promoting, like you heard that people get paid on YouTube to promote these coins, any of those things that go out there, negative or positive, are very reactive to cryptocurrencies. People will sell off, they'll panic, they'll want to get rid of them, and then other people will hold on to them. So we actually shed $62 billion in 1 month. So that's a lot, and now we're working our way back up. The circulating supply for Bitcoin currently is 16 million coins with a maximum supply of 21 million, okay? That just means that there's 21 million that are going to be in circulation eventually, and right now we got almost 17 million, okay?
So,
Yes.
so you were saying that you had to buy Bitcoin first in order to buy all these other coins?
You don't have to buy Bitcoin first. Coinbase actually now allows you to buy Ethercoin, Litecoin, yeah, and Bitcoin Cash. Okay, so Bitcoin Cash is the one I'll talk to you a little bit about that too, because that's important to know about. That's a different thing altogether.
Just as far as-
But also consider, yes.
Just as far as a clarification on that, when you go onto an exchange to get any of the other coins, that exchange is generally based in Bitcoin. Some of the other exchanges allow you to use Litecoin, allow you to use Ethereum, allows you to use New Zealand dollars, Tether, different coins. It depends on what exchange you're on as far as what coin you use. All of them will accept Bitcoin, so that's why he's saying when you start out, you start with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But as you become more advanced, you'll work with the other ones, and depending on what exchange you're on.
Yeah, don't misunderstand me. You can do that. It's just most people will buy Bitcoin to start off because you can buy a lot more with that. You can trade on other exchanges. Like Americans have a hard time trading some of the altcoins. We have to go to certain exchanges. One's called Binance, Binance.com. You need to know that, Binance.com. And you need to know Bitrex. Bitrex is another one. And Americans can only buy on certain exchanges for these altcoins. Those are two of the most popular ones. Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am.
No, you're fine. So is Coinbase an exchange?
It is. It's an
Okay.
exchange. They're based out of San Francisco, but they are one of the few exchanges in the country that actually they're really good.
They're the premier exchange in the United States. The thing about Coinbase is it's referred to as a closed exchange. It only has 4 coins, and it just added 1 coin literally the day of our last meeting, November 19th.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can only get a couple ones there. The Coinbase is the best place to start because you can get into less trouble. All right. It also has
It's the most trusted one.
It's also very highly trusted. It's not been hacked. It keeps everything protected. But the thing about Coinbase, it makes it easy. Everything's really simple. You don't have to guess on prices. It tells you want this much. Here's how much you pay for it. On other exchanges, it's like, oh, you want this much? How much you want to do it? When do you want to buy it? You want to do all that right now? It just gets real complicated.
It can be very complicated.
Very
Yeah.
hard. Oh, so that was just the initial question. So I've been trying to buy Ripple for like
Right.
a week now.
Oh, I'll talk to you about it. I'll talk to you about it.
It's like-
Yes, I will. And
But
you
how
really
do
want to
buy
buy
it
from
if you can't-
Binance.
If you can't, you can't buy it. It's like you can't go on an exchange and just buy it.
Because not every
You
exchange
have-
has it listed. You have to
Yeah,
go to a
you have to go to-
exchange
I
that
know,
has
but
it
even if
listed.
they do, you have to switch, you have to buy it with your Bitcoins.
Yes.
Correct.
And you can't just go on an exchange and then open an account on exchange.
Right.
It has to all be done currency to currency, right?
No,
Not
you can,
exactly.
no, you can get an account on Binance, and once you get an account on Binance, you can take your Coinbase Bitcoin and buy those altcoins.
Yeah.
Does that make
Well, that's
sense?
what I tried to do, and I was at Clifford's class the other night, and I got really freaked out about, if you do something wrong, which inevitably I will, then all your money's just like gone, because it's lost in who knows where.
Yeah,
And-
there's a lot of nervous energy in that. I just think that when you do that, though, be patient. please be patient. I have people freak out all the time. I'm going to tell you a nightmare story really, really quick about somebody I just spoke to on the phone last week. And it was a gentleman who lost $21,000. And the reason he lost the $21,000 is because he got impatient.
Yeah.
And he was not seeing his money right away. So it was like, I can't get, Coinbase isn't launching, Coinbase isn't launching, what's wrong? Well, what was wrong is so many people are trying to buy now. You got all these things they're locking up. If you ever gone to these exchanges and you're like, what's going on? It's not even there right now. What's happening? It's because there's a massive amount of people buying. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people around the world. And as more exchanges come online across the world, these are becoming inundated with more and more buyers. So it's dragging down the systems, locking up these websites, but they will come back online. And when they do, you'll see your money. You just have to be patient. What did he do? He Googled it. He Googled Coinbase support. Their number came up, and he was like, oh, let me call this phone number. Got on the phone with some Oriental person who said, hey, guy, I will help you, but I need access to your computer. And he was like, at that point, Rob, I was really unsure, but I just really, really got frustrated, so I gave him access to my computer. At which point, he drained everything the guy had, including his bank account. He started going, he had $3,000 deducted from his bank account, and he lost $21,000 total. He wanted my help to try to retrieve that. There's nothing I could do to help him, and it's an awful, awful feeling, right? So that's because I'm very conservative. Please be patient. Don't ever give anybody access to your computer, no matter what. No matter what company they're with, I don't care if they're with Microsoft, there is no reason to allow anybody to look inside your computer. So let's talk about how a lot of people made a lot of money in Bitcoin, okay? So it was launched in 2009 at 0.001 cents. In 2010, it was 7 cents. All of a sudden in 2011, it jumped to $15. That's your first wave of millionaires that you see there. That Vitalik Buterin and other folks that we're going to talk about tonight, they knew about this technology. They understand what it's about. They reinvested in that. They went on to make a lot of money, to make a lot of coins. So in 2012, it dropped down to $7. 2013, we were up to 100. 2014, 600. 2015, we dropped down to $220. 2016, we were at $750. In 2017, we went up to $19,535 in 1 year. So a lot of folks now are multimillionaires, and a lot of them are very, very young, and they're reinvesting into cryptocurrency technology, how it works, and how digital currency works in general. Currently, 2018, Happy New Year. We're at $15,008 as of this morning. So this is the Bitcoin Lightning Network that I want to talk to you about. It's a time function is what it is. And the software developer that did it is Alex Bosworth. And software developer Alex Bosworth was the first person to actually use a Lightning Network this week. And he actually paid his own fees with that on what's called BitRefill. So it was successful, not in a testing environment. It's actually on the main net now, and it proved successful, which means Bitcoin can be scalable and can work super, super, super fast. Okay, that's good to know, because up until this point, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's going to drag. I don't know about Bitcoin. It's going to end up failing." I always knew it wasn't going to fail. I always knew by doing my due diligence and understanding the way the cryptocurrency works that they were working on this technology. Yes, sir.
Well, is it always going to have the ability to improve the technology then?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, Bitcoin, blockchain's a software, so it can always be improved. It always is looking at how to layer on top of that. How do we layer things on top of the blockchain? And we've had, meetings here about just the blockchain, but there's some excellent YouTube videos out there about blockchain and how it actually works and how you can layer things on top of that. So it's revolutionizing everything. And the way that we do business in the future, the way we interact with each other is all changing. So Bitcoin is super, super, super popular, but a lot of reasons why, right? It's becoming actually a currency. It's actually considered a digital currency now in Japan. And actually their GDP just increased greatly because they became the first country to legalize Bitcoin as a currency. So they're very used to these things here. right? They use this for everything, right? And it's peer-to-peer. So China, South Korea, all of these folks are very familiar with technology like this. They're using it all the time, and they don't need anybody else. They don't need a bank. Anytime something happens in the world, Zimbabwe, for instance, had an upheaval, and what happened? All these Zimbabwe people were like, oh my gosh, I gotta hide my money. I gotta get out of the bank. I won't be able to get my money out of the bank. What can I do with it? I'll put it in Bitcoin. So you could actually buy a Bitcoin in the United States for $15,000 today, but in Zimbabwe, it's actually $17,000. So Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer technology. It's a decision that you make with each other, and you can sell things to each other. You could decide right now to go, hey, I like this guy's sunglasses. I want to buy this guy's sunglasses. Sir, how much are your sunglasses? And he says, $50, Rob. And I say, great. I'm going to buy them from you. I just take my phone. I hold it up to his wallet. I put $50 in. Coinbase shows me what that is automatically in cryptocurrency, in Bitcoin. We make that transaction together. We don't pay taxes. We didn't have anybody involved. We didn't use a credit card. I didn't get charged for that. Minor fees is what's going to happen eventually with the Lightning Network. Right now, Bitcoin's become cumbersome, so some of the fees are higher. So when you talk about miners, they're getting rewarded for verifying transactions. That's what they get rewarded for. All these folks have downloaded the blockchain software into their computers, and they're verifying transactions. So if you have a computer that's super, super fast, like a gaming computer, you can verify transactions faster, so you can get rewarded with Bitcoin. The faster your computer, the more you can get rewarded, right? That's how it works. So, okay, well, this is the kind of a boomer I wanted to just mention, but I really wanted to talk about the way that the United States is looking at Bitcoin. And right now, it is considered an asset or property. So that has a lot of tax implications, right? So let's say you wanted to like start buying cryptocurrencies, right? You want to go from, oh, I want to buy Bitcoin, and then I want to go ahead and buy some Ethercoin, and then I want to buy Ripple coin. Well, every time you do that, that's a transaction. That's a taxable transaction according to the government. So you have to keep track of all of that stuff, right? My job to say, oh, do the right thing, right? So when it comes to Bitcoin, though, I often get the question of, well, what can you buy with it? Really? You can buy anything you want with it. Overstock.com accepts Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. You can buy furniture, you can buy trips, you go on Virgin Atlantic. Sir Branson was one of the first people to accept Bitcoin, so you can go on, fly around the world if you want. And then PayPal. PayPal also utilizes Bitcoin. Starbucks. Yeah, and Starbucks, yeah, Starbucks. So, this is my yippee for today. My yippee is Ripple XRP. Okay, does anybody know anything about Ripple? Anybody? Anybody have Ripple in here? You guys say, okay. Very happy people. All right. Well, Ripple was one of the ones that wasn't so friendly to the cryptocurrency world because it's not mined, right? There's no miners. So if it's not being mined, the general cryptocurrency world is like, oh, stay away from it. It's a bad, bad, bad thing. But I saw the writing on the wall a long time ago when it comes to Ripple XRP. The reason why is because they got super, super smart. It's the only cryptocurrency that is backed by a corporation, by the way. Has an excellent marketing plan. And they were proactive in going to the different banking facilities around the world and implementing themselves in it. The way they did it was they wanted to take over the SWIFT process, the wire transfer from you know, when you want to wire transfer from zone to zone, or even to, like here in the States. I often do it for my business. It's frustrating, right? You got it, and then you're waiting for your money, and the bank's like, oh, I didn't see your wire transfer, and so on and so forth. That's so frustrating. It's also expensive. So what Ripple did was made it extremely inexpensive to do that transaction, to do it across the world if you wanted to do it, and do it for as little as 4 cents. Okay, so that just knocked it way down. So Japan has 67 banks that are now utilizing Ripple technology. UBS in our country utilizes Ripple technology. They also have what's called Xcurrent payments, and this is a solution for enterprising software solution to allow financial institutions to send international and receive and send international payments. XRapid is coming online. This leverages XRP to lower the liquidity cost of payments. And XVIA, which is payments interface available in an API that allows users to send international payments through a bank or a payment provider on what's called the Ripple net. So, okay, in November it was 21 cents, December it was 25 cents, and today it was $3.30. So if you would have come to our meetings in November and went home and bought a bunch of Ripple, you should be happy today because you just got made a lot of money, right? You made some good money.
800%.
Yeah, 800% is right. So, I don't want to skip anything. Oh, they have a market cap right now of $122 billion. The other thing that you need to know about Ripple is that the actual corporation has held back 60% of the coin. What does that mean? That means that kind of makes everyone nervous, right? The corporation's holding on to this massive amount of Ripple. Well, what if they decide to drop it all on the exchanges? That would drop the price. It would go down to nothing. So they made a deal with us. They said we're only going to release, they set dates, we're only going to drop this much at this time. So you can go on Ripple, you can go on the Ripple website and see what that is, okay? See those dates so you know. But they want to make sure, they want to give us confidence as people that are buying. Also, Ripple now is about to hit Coinbase. So this is why you see this huge jump to $3. So the rumor is that they're going to add Ripple, and I'm actually very confident that they are going to add Ripple, and they are also looking at what's called Dash Coin. And I'll talk about Dash in a little bit. So earlier we talked about ICOs. This is Vitallac Buterin. I got to meet this kid at a Miami Bitcoin conference. I highly suggest you go to those conferences. You will meet the most intelligent, incredible people you've ever met in your life. I met him. I had no idea what he was talking about. I just stood by him. And all these people were, listening to what he was saying, and he was talking about smart contracts and creating tokens and how this is going to revolutionize everything and Ethereum, and I'm like, man, I don't know about that. That's a little fishy, and anyway, live and learn. That's what I love about this group, because we've all combined our forces together. We've all lost money, we've all made bad decisions, and because of this group, we are making sure that people like you do not make those same decisions. That you really need to do your due diligence and understand a little bit about it before you invest a whole lot of money, okay?
What is the name of that group?
What's that?
What is the name of that group?
This is called Ethereum.
Oh, I thought the Miami people.
No, that's a Bitcoin conference. They have
okay.
Bitcoin conferences all the time. Actually, there's one coming up in Miami and another one in Texas.
Okay.
So I didn't want to leave anything out about that, but anyway, Ethereum is programmable contracts and also utilized as money, or Ether. It's called Ether. Okay, when you own Ethereum, I have Ether, is what that's called. This was only launched it was only proposed in 2013, and then during a crowd sale in August of 2014, and then went live in 2015. That shows you how new it is, right? Right? It's only just a few years old, right? Well, look at it. So went from November, we were at $310, December we were at $475, and now we're over $1,000 today, 1,000. Yes, sir.
Well, what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen with like Litecoin?
Oh, I'm talking about Litecoin.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to want that one. And then what's called Ethereum fog is something that's also considered is on the table to help them with the scalability issues. So there is some things in the works right now that is going to help people help them actually become very valuable in the fact that they could scale to a larger amount of transactions. Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is a spin-off of Bitcoin, what we call a Bitcoin clone. However, it is different. So when it comes to Bitcoin, there's only 21 million of them. You learn that. That's the amount that they're going to be made. Same with Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash was developed by folks like Roger Ver, who was involved in the original creation of Bitcoin and was a blockchain founder. There's a little bit of infighting because he was also very concerned with scalability of Bitcoin, so he created Bitcoin Cash, and that split the group up. Some of them stayed with Bitcoin, some of them were loyal to Bitcoin, and then others went to the Bitcoin Cash. What's the difference? 1 megabyte is what Bitcoin works on. Bitcoin Cash works on 8 megabytes. So he wanted to make sure it's fast, scalable, and he addressed it right away. And if you owned Bitcoin before the split, what was called the split, then you actually got awarded Bitcoin Cash at the exact same time. So you would get that automatically in your wallet. And for folks that have Coinbase, you should have seen that already because it became active on your, okay. I see head shaking, so that's good. Cardano is actually just new to the top 10 this week, and it launched in September at 18 cents, and now it's $1.25. So this is also something you really want to know about, and how it works is Cardano is a decentralized public blockchain and cryptocurrency project. It's fully open source. It's developing a smart contract platform like Ethereum, but a little bit different. Delivers more advanced features and a protocol previously developed. Its first blockchain platform is to evolve out a scientific philosophy and research-first driven approach. The development team consists of a large global collective of expert engineers and researchers. And right now, this in yellow talks a little bit about what happened this week. The Greek graduates may soon be able to prove their qualifications by the way of blockchain. Those are people that are graduating from college. They are what's called the GRNet, the National Research and Education Network of Greece. It's working on a pilot project with blockchain research and development company IOHK to verify student diplomas. So it's all about verifying that they actually graduated and they are them, right? So they're going to actually, they're the ones that started it, and then they're going to offer it to other colleges to do the exact same thing. So that's why the coin's becoming very valuable to people. They're like, oh wow, that's a great idea, it works, and that's their focus. Every single one of these coins that are popular in the top 10 have a specific use. They're all doing something different, right? So they're all valuable in different ways. That allows you as an investor, if you're interested in that type of thing, to invest in. If you're not, stay away from it. Just stay away. I will tell you, we've done our research, and we know exactly what has occurred here and in all of cryptocurrencies. And in fact, Clifford here did a really cool thing with the top 20 cryptocurrencies. And Cliff, why don't you tell a little bit about how that works?
All right. First off, I do a little bit of trading, and a lot of people work on trading coins. So the question came up as far as how well we did with our trading in comparison to if we just bought and held Bitcoin. So if you just, in January of 2017, bought Bitcoin and then held on to it without doing any trades or exchanges, anything with it, and looked at what your value was in December, you will have found your money increased by 1,816%. All right? Trading, I'm at about 400%. I mean, not bad, but if I just stopped overthinking it and just bought and held, I would have made a lot better. So then we started thinking more. Well, if that was so simple, how do we beat 1,816%? If you took $100 and bought, if you bought $100 worth of the next 19 coins outside of Bitcoin, all right, we looked at the value of that and saw what our return would be on that. And we had a return of 1,700%, 1,711%. So just about beating Bitcoin. But combined, yeah, I know, pretty crazy, right? Combined, if you had the top 20 coins, including Bitcoin on down, you would have over 3,000% return off your investment. So a $2,000 investment in January would have equated to almost $70,000 by December.
Wow.
So now yeah, I know, pretty crazy. So now we further took that idea. Well, what if we staggered the amounts? You know, instead of putting $100 in each one, what if we did 150, 130, 110, 20, and went down? And we found we could bump the amount that we returned by about 5% by doing that, and we're playing with the numbers further to kind of dial it in. And we're building that into some more ideas as far as what we can do to help investors and provide greater return on investment. But we're talking about 30x returns, you know, off of just letting it sit, you know. So I deposit that, go hang out in the Cayman Islands or move to Puerto Rico and not have to pay taxes and all that fun stuff.
That's 2017.
2017, right.
It was a different kind of year. Everybody got really interested in it.
Right. So we looked
Well,
at,
yeah, we're still in the beginning stages of cryptocurrency. I
Right.
mean, we're just at the beginning.
so here's the thing. We also looked at it historically. What would happen if, what was going on with all the years prior? So if 2014, which was the oldest good block of data we had, you would have lost 90% of your money if you invested in the top 20 currencies under those plans. All right? In 2015, you'd have lost most of your money. I want to say it was like 70%. 2016, you actually would have gotten a profit of about 32%. And this year, we have that 3,400%. All right? So now, what will we say for next year? How does this historically do it? Because anybody that's in financial industry will let you know past performance is no indicator of future gains.
That's correct.
Okay? So keeping that in mind, what could we use as a better predictor of that? And we, after discussion, determined that Bitcoin's only reached about 2% market saturation. So if it's doing this at 2%, and it wasn't even really measurable in all the years prior, what are we looking at for market saturation in future years? The rumors and discussion is saying that Bitcoin will reach 16% market saturation. So there's still a lot of room for growth. All right, you're talking about 4 orders of magnitude as far as potential. So I still think 3,400 on the top 20 is pretty good. And the future with 2% market saturation at 3,000%, 16%, we can see a lot more.
But this top 20 did great in 2017, but those aren't the same top 20 that were around 3 years ago?
True, because what we looked at, and particularly in the past data, is the top 20 from each year. We're not picking the same coins each time. We look at January 1st, who are in the top 20, and boom. And you'll find by December, they've moved a lot of positions. Some drop down to 60, some stay in the top 10, others drive to 1,100. Only one fell off the market and then came back. And of the top 20, last year, only one didn't have any profit. And even the ones that had low profit were at 30 times. You know, so you look at 30 times, a range between 30 times and 1,800 times of return on investment. So it's still a solid indicator of that. But we also have that idea as far as what can we do to further beat Bitcoin. And this, it's still experimental, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But it goes along these lines. What if we chose all the emerging coins? So we looked at the top 20 under $1. You know, these coins are just starting out. They've recently had ICOs. They're not expensive. They're within the psychological realm that people really can grasp. Just go on a little tangent is psychologically, people think of everything in a whole. A Bitcoin is $15,000. I can't buy a Bitcoin. I don't want that. You know, they don't understand that you can buy portions of a Bitcoin. But when you talk about something in the sense that, oh, it's only $1, it's only 80 cents, I can buy one of those. I can do it. So it opens up a psychological, it goes through a psychological barrier that people have. Because I know everybody, when they're talking about it, people get that. Well, Bitcoin's too expensive. I can't buy one. Slow down. All right, so we looked at it from that standpoint. So psychologically, we'd be more open to people that can handle the coins that are under $1. All right. So we looked at those, and what we found is we had 1,500% return on the top 20 under $1. So it's not quite beating Bitcoin, and it's not beating the 3,000% that we saw before. But you can still pick out some early risers. Like if you looked at that and picked up a coin like Cardano, it's only under $1, and now it's over $1. You would still have a significant 14,000% return, something ridiculous like that. And we're still doing study on a better way to dial that in, as far as which ones would be a better route to go with in those blocks. So essentially what you're doing is kind of like mining from different pools with the top 20. You're putting like a 60-20-20 in some coins Data that you're mining. doing research. Data mining, Right, from that right. standpoint. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So we're kind of doing that. Now, something else that we're doing within the BitcoinCrypto.News framework and website is we started out as a news site. And with one great idea, we want to just report, give information like we're doing here. And it kind of went out of control. We got, well, this is a great idea, so we can go ahead and start classes, start teaching everybody else, which we have courses now. We're putting together courses now where we can take people from 0 to becoming an advanced investor and going out looking at charts and cups and arrows and pennants and bulls and dragons and all that fun stuff. All right? So we're putting together coursework to teach people on that. And like, well, what about looking into ICOs? There's so many, how do we review that? Well, we're moving into that framework and this framework and that. So we have a lot of avenues that we're going to be incorporating into that, and that's part of why we're going to be moving into a membership area. So we're still going to have a free membership. Everybody's going to be open and everything. But just so we can put more time and energy into answer questions better, we need to give up our day jobs. And we need to do things on that. So we're going to have memberships, so that way you have a membership, we take funds from that, and we go and delve into it deeply. So that way people can make more educated investments. Because at the end of the day, there's no single source that can give you all the information you need. So we're trying to spend a lot of time going through everything. But if we can spend the time for you, we can free you up and help you make a lot of money along the way.
We're going to pay for this membership in Bitcoin?
Yes.
Ideally, yes.
See how fast I was?
Yes. Ideally, we'd like to work in the crypto sphere because I have my secret sauce behind cryptos as far as to make sure they don't turn into a bubble is you have to have circulation. Water that's not moving becomes stagnant. All right, so if we're not spending and using Bitcoins, you know, I mean, if you have a lot of them, buy a house, pay off a car, do all that, and get using them. So you got to have that circulation.
The website does take Bitcoin and Ethereum, by the way, so.
Right. All right. Quick question, then I'm going to let Rob finish up with the top 10.
Have you heard anything regarding Wall Street doing things with either exchange-traded funds or mutual funds?
Now, this is the discussion we have about Ripple. He's very bullish on Ripple in the sense that it's going to do it. I'm very bearish on Ripple, and I'm invested in Ripple. I'm making money on Ripple. I don't dislike it for that. But the thing about it is Ripple is moving too quickly up the cryptosphere chart, and it could theoretically eclipse Bitcoin. But then once it does, it puts Wall Street in charge of cryptos. It's a potential, not necessarily reality, and if they stay true to their game.
I'm not making faces.
But, you know, that's the discussion we go back and forth. They have all sorts of stuff. What I see from Wall Street right now is they're getting into the futures market, and they're going to be shorting Bitcoin really fast, and they're going to be shorting it really hard once they know about regulations, because they're going to be writing the regulations. Or I shouldn't say writing the regulations. They'll be in the room during regulation talks, while people like us aren't. So that's one thing I don't feel comfortable about Ripple with. But since they're going to be shorting because they know this is coming down the pipe, there's going to be a big correction. So there could be an 80% drop in Bitcoin. All right? Know this. But make hay while the sun's out.
Right.
You know, just be smart about profit taking and not doing that. And also, always set money aside for taxes. 30% is a good key. We're still hearing numbers as far as a new tax plan, but do that. So pardon me.
What time frame do you think the correction will happen?
I have no idea. You'll hear a little bit of a buzz because anytime there's a regulation, it doesn't come out regulations here. It's going to committee. Oh, this is coming down the pipe. They're going to be voting on it. Now and so on. So we'll have some lead time, but as Rob mentioned before, cryptos are very sensitive. So they can end up tanking just because they heard it went from committee to this. So the main thing is being plugged in so we can do that. And that's one thing we're trying to make sure we can bring to all of you as a news site.
Isn't the global thing with Bitcoin that the U.S. shouldn't have that much of an influence on it though, right?
It's a psychology thing more than an influence thing. Because even when China brought in its stopping of all ICOs, every cryptocurrency, when you looked at the chart, was red. They got that hammered because it's psychologically people hear, oh my God, they did this, so they're going to do that here, and then, oh my God, let me get my money out before. You know, psychology. So even if it happens in the U.S., it may only affect only the U.S. portion of it, but people in South Korea will be worried about what their futures could be in those.
Yeah, we're actually, at the Rocket Lounge next time, we've invited Bitcoin IRA folks to give us a Skype call, a live call, so you can ask them questions, because Bitcoin IRA is now a very popular thing with folks. They're actually moving their regular IRAs into Bitcoin IRAs. And you have several coins that you could choose from there, one of them being Ripple. And, you know, Bitcoin Cash. And anyway, so, Cardano, though, you guys, is really one of these new cryptocurrencies, and the fact of now it's just hit the top 10, it just skyrocketed in value. It would be one you'd want to go home and do your due diligence on. It's doing several different things other than just doing smart contracts. It'll be able to handle the smart contracts, the digital legal agreements that will underpin future commerce and business. So it also does several other things as far as a currency goes, as being quick, transaction, low fees. Okay.
What exchange is it offered on?
I don't personally own. Do you own any of that?
I don't own that.
I believe it's Binance. Okay, thank you.
I want to point out two things.
And it's ADA, by the way, on Binance.
Real quick, he said it was 18 cents. It wasn't 18 cents. It's 1.8 cents.
Oh, that's right. 1.8.
1.8.
Yeah.
So you had 1,000% return if you bought it at 1.8 cents and it went to 2 cents and it went to $1.25. All right. And second, when you go on CoinMarketCap, select the coin that you want to see, or whatever coin's on the list. Tap that coin, and it'll bring up that page specific to that. And then you click Markets, and it'll let you know everywhere that it's listed. All right. So that's one of the main sites I go to daily for information, and particularly beginning, this is your main research site.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to Nemcoin. Nemcoin was next in the top 10. Nemcoin was actually promoted in China as being the next Ethereum. China's Ethereum when it first launched. And they were also going into a skyrocketing value before China cracked down on ICOs. When China cracked down on ICOs, they made a general statement. We are cracking down on everything cryptocurrency. That scared the heck out of a lot of people. The largest mining platform in the entire world is in China. It has actually 24 buildings, huge buildings. They live on site, and all these people do is have mine all day long. So they decided to crack down on what really is the ICOs, because there was all these people raising a ton of money, and they were like, wait a second, we don't have our hands on that money. Who's investing? So they went under the guise of, we're going to protect investors, and we're going to crack down on everything ICO. We're going to shut down these exchanges, for instance. Nemcoin is one of those. You guys, I'm going to upload this onto our site, so you can have this, and you don't need to write everything down, okay? But Nemcoin works a lot like Ethereum does.
Real quick,
Yeah.
the wallets. Do you get the wallet before you go on Binance, or does Binance have its own wallet?
When you buy, Binance has his own, the one wants, Helium,
Oh, yeah.
he has a bunch of them.
Real quick. Oh yeah, let me introduce myself. My name's Clifford Mitchum. I'm the educational director for BitcoinCrypto.News. I lead the Bitcoin 101 courses, and we're going to be coming out with Bitcoin 201, 301, and then Tyler's going to pick up for advanced and go into charting, forecasting, and the like there. So now what you're talking about with wallets. Every exchange has a wallet for you to do your transactions in. And like, for example, Binance will have, of the 700 some odd coins they have available, you can have a wallet for each one of those, okay? But exchange wallets should only be used for trading, whatever money you're playing with. If you're just holding on to funds, you want to move that to a third-party wallet. Whether it's the paper ether wallet, whether it's, I like Coinami because you can do multiple coins in one wallet. It gives you a nice Koinami.
Koinami.
Yeah, it gives you a nice listing. I have about up to $6,000. All right, so I have several grand in here, but this automatically updates how much is in each one and lets me know quickly how much I have in each wallet, and I can look at it for transactions and the like there. So you have a wallet on an exchange, but you should also have a spare wallet because exchanges can freeze accounts. If an exchange is being investigated, boom, all your money there is frozen, and it may not thaw. Or it could be hacked. Well, Ledger's a type of wallet. The Ledger is the open network of everything, but there's a Ledger wallet.
Yeah, that's what
Like a hard wallet.
Right, it's another hard, it's a third party wallet. Move to that. Anything you're not playing with, you're storing it. Think of that like putting it in a cookie jar and burying it in the backyard.
Another one's Trezor.
Right. So there's lots of them out there. But the exchange wallets are just for the funds that you're playing with. You should have a digital wallet, paper wallet, hard wallet, somewhere else to store funds and hold on to.
I'm sorry, I downloaded the Koinami wallet, but there's only like a certain amount of coins listed there, so how do you add coins that aren't
When you go to the hamburger button, that's the 3 lines,
Uh-huh.
tap that, and at the bottom it says plus coins. You can choose a coin you want to add.
Is that an ERC-20 compatible wallet?
Some of them. It has a listing of whichever coins you have available.
Is that like the newest wallet that you should be looking for?
It's one I use. Wallets are wallets. You can use a leather one, you can use a paper one, you can do whatever. Does it do what you need it to do? If you're looking at ERC-20 coins, Ether Wallet might be the better one to go with because you can get those airdrops. If you're looking at just a wallet to hold on to something, Koinami might be it. You maybe want IOTA. Koinami doesn't have IOTA in its platform, so you can't use that wallet. Depends on what you want to do for that.
Does that trigger a taxable event when you're switching from an exchange to a wallet?
No. Only when you're trading it, when you're moving one coin to another coin. All right. So if you have red coin and then you wanted to get Bitcoin out of it, you would create a taxable event. But if you're moving red coin from one hand to the other hand, no, nothing going on there.
That's something you want to check with your financial advisor, because I've heard both sides of the story, and both of them claim one trading group says it doesn't, and then one trading group says it does, because it's actually anytime it changes, I guess, addresses. I agree with it's not, because I argue the IRS all day long that it's not a taxable event, but it's something you will have to check with your tax advisor, because I have heard the other story also.
The whole thing of it's just make a note of it. You know, we're still finding out what the tax thing is because it's been very amorphous. The IRS has been rather hands-off, but they're getting more and more clingy. All right, because there's a lot more activity, a lot more fluid. It's because it's only 2% market saturation now, and it's growing. They want to try to get ahead of it. And before, when it was negligible, it really wasn't anything to particularly worry about.
I'd heard that, and I don't know if it's a law passed or not, but they were going to pass a law where you could use Bitcoin to buy coffee at Starbucks without there being a capital tax.
Yeah, it's a bipartisan law.
$600 for the year
That is $600 per transaction.
per transaction.
That's right.
So it is law now?
It's proposed by 3 senators, both bipartisan. They're bipartisan. They actually won't even announce who they are.
Yeah, it's going through the channels, but it has not passed. Nothing has actually gone through.
And if it does, it's a big deal. It means any small business owner can have somebody come in, buy $600 worth of goods and not get taxed on it. So
Bitcoin would, you'd think, would take a jump in that.
it would take a huge drop. I would take it immediately at my business because the average person that comes into my business spends under $100. Boy, I'd rather you to use Bitcoin than anything else. So.
But at the same time, just because they don't see it or they say one thing, they can also come back later and do other stuff.
No, I definitely, when it comes to my business, if anybody pays me in Bitcoin, I definitely show that I got paid in Bitcoin, and that's how it works,
Right.
you know. But, you know, let's say it's a $20 item, you know, it's $20 in Bitcoin, it just goes into that wallet. I can either pay in cash at that time, my personal business would give that cash, and I would transfer that Bitcoin out to another wallet. I personally do not keep a lot of my Bitcoin on the exchanges. I move them off the exchanges. I take my Bitcoin from like Coinbase, for instance, and I'll put it on the blockchain wallet. So if you go to blockchain.com or blockchain, it's blockchain.org, I use blockchain.com. But anyway, you can create a wallet for free on blockchain.com. Just print it out, start accepting Bitcoin right off the bat today if you want.
Yeah, and we're gonna be having a program where we Bitcoin your business. So if you want to be able to accept Bitcoin, we're gonna have a outline to
I have a
make that
business
possible.
and I want to take Bitcoin. So all I have to do is create an account on blockchain.com and
Create the
via
wallet,
phone, create
print out the wallet, print out your QR code, right?
Right.
Put whatever cutesy stuff you want, like, hey, thank you so much, blah, 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 I take Bitcoin, I accept Bitcoin.
Right.
Go on coinmap.org, list your business there, okay? So that will show the entire world that you are accepting Bitcoin. And if there's anybody who's traveling from out overseas or maybe in town and they're like, who accepts Bitcoin? It'll come up on that map. Who accepts Bitcoin.
We're also gonna be putting together a directory, so everybody locally
Yes.
can go to one spot.
Yeah, we'll be, yep.
We got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe.
Yes. So, yep. Okay, Stellar Looms, you guys. Stellar Looms is XLM. This is one I've been talking about for 2 months, and it's made a lot of people some money recently because it's starting to go way up. And that means they're moving money across borders quickly, reliably, in fractions of a penny, right? That's how Stellar Looms works. I suggest you Googleize XLM. In fact, I suggest you Google Alert. I don't know if any of you use Google Alert now. If you Google Alert, you can put in whatever subject you want and automatically will be emailed every day about that coin or whatever subject you're interested in. Use Google Alerts. I'm telling you, it's very valuable. The reason why is because you'll see all the breaking news. Like all you do is type in Ripple XRP, and then every day they'll email you, hey, there's news on Ripple XRP, and this is where it's coming from. And if there's a little news, you're like, the coin's not moving. But the minute you see, you'll open up your email and all of a sudden there'll be 13 different articles, and you're like, uh-oh, it's getting a lot of news. That means people are buying it. So please use Google Alerts. Okay, Tron is the one that Michael was talking about a little bit earlier. Do you want to talk about Tron?
I'd love to talk about Tron.
Okay, talk about Tron.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Tron was a company, like I said, it started in ICO out of China, and the company itself had little problems with the ICO, so they did what they call the airdrop. They basically just took, they went to, which anybody can do, take a list of all the addresses on the chain, and they I think they put a like 0.01, a threshold that actually had to have a little bit of money in it, which is like $50 or something. And if they had it in there, then they put them all aside, and they called one an airdrop. They just did an Excel spreadsheet that pretty much copied the address and sent it from the exchange, from their wallet to that address, and they airdropped. I think I got my first airdrop. I got 500 coins for like, I don't know, it was like $1 or something. It was way below a penny per cost. But it showed up in my wallet, so I added it to my little coin tracker here, which I use on my phone, which is I don't know if you got over any of those, but I use it's called Coin Pro. There's Coin Stats, Coin Pro. There's a couple of apps you can download. You just basically you look at all the coins and put pretend money in there. It's not really hooked to anything. It's just to show you how it moves. And so I put that in there, and I watched it grow and grow. And so finally we started investing in it and put some money in there. And in the last, I don't really recommend it right now because it's so high. It's ridiculous. It's up 108 cents, 108% since yesterday.
180.
100. Well, it was up 140 earlier.
No, it gave up.
It gave up a little bit. So it's only down to 108.
That's only 24 hours.
That's 24 hours, but it was up another 100% the day before.
435% for the week.
435% for the week. So I made a lot of money on it. I'm excited. I think everybody here has because we were all investing in it. But the behind the company itself is what the meat and potatoes are of that is they're building a digital asset program, and I don't know if anybody has actually looked into it, but I've read a little bit of the white paper, but they're building a digital asset token for the entertainment industry. And the little bit that I've got from it, I still have to do a lot of research because I did dive into this because it was just moving and everybody was like, hey, get on Tron. So I did jump in with a little bit of money we had, and now it's a lot of money, but it's a digital asset. So for example, if you create a video, right now Jeremy's creating a video of this meeting, which could be very valuable to people who don't know anything about Bitcoin. Well, we could go on the Tron platform, which is still developing. I'm talking 5 years down the road, or a year down the road, or 2 years down the road, or whatever. And we can attach a Tron address to this video. And then we have the digital rights to this pretty much forever. So if anybody copies it, the digital assets, I guess if the code's embedded in the program or whatever. So if you take a picture of this, and then Time Magazine says, oh, there's a cool picture on the internet, let's use it on a thing. That digital asset travels with that entertainment asset. So whether it's a video, or whether it's a YouTube video, or, for example, Star Wars. I mean, it may go as far, I don't know what this is, but if you want to invest in a movie, and well, might have to buy Tron tokens to invest in that movie, and then those tokens are tied to that asset somehow. And if that movie does make $1 billion, then somehow you get, I mean, somehow they're trying to figure out how to quantitate the entertainment industry. So all across the entire world, it's the first time it's ever done.
Licensing. So
Licensing.
basically, if you use their logo for your stuff, and you, instead of having to pay them directly, they automatically deducts a certain amount, or automatically credits a certain amount for the transaction.
That's the big thing about the blockchain. It's all transparent, so it's all automated too. So it makes it real easy to do stuff.
And there's crawlers and bots, just like all of a sudden they can find every picture that shows like a blue bunny. You know, there's particular bots that crawl the internet and do that. It crawls and finds any copy of that image to any scale, adjustment, or anything.
That's the 30,000 foot view.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot more technical than that, but bottom line is it's gone from $100 million to $10 billion worth of value in the last week. So there's a lot of people putting money into it because they read more than I have.
It's a huge trend going on right now, sir.
Do they plan on going into like ASCAP BMI for music type stamps?
The whole entertainment industry.
A whole entire entertainment industry.
Music, songs.
Everything they want to everything that we do currently, like we put on Facebook, we post a picture. We actually are not getting paid for that, right? Facebook's just getting money from their marketing platform. The whole idea behind that is what you're putting out there is valuable and could be, you should get paid for that, right? They shouldn't be capitalizing on what we do. That's our stuff. So any image you create, any song that you write, anything that you do should be done.
Shouldn't pay for it. The thing is, blockchain allows everything to essentially have a UPC code, all right? So every time you go to the grocery store, oh, I want this, you scan the UPC and you get credited or you purchase it. You know, in essence, the blockchain allows everything to get that code, so you can always get credited or purchased or lend or put certain restrictions on how particular media is used, but you can get compensated for it.
Sure.
Isn't Poet doing that also? That POE stock?
Oh, yeah.
POE was one of those also.
Yeah, we also heard that.
There's multiple coins doing multiple things, and just like you have Ford, you have Dodge, you have...
It's all behind, but who's behind it, really?
Right.
How much money do they have, capital do they have behind them to push this into the main?
Oh, it's up
mainstream?
over 200% in the last couple of days also.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a very similar thing.
Very similar, yeah.
How do you look at this and say, I think it's not a good buy? Or, you know, you said maybe it's not a good time to buy that. How do you look at something and all of them and understand that?
I use a three-pronged address. First off, I look at the development team. Who's on it? Do they have big names, as Rob was pointing out? You know, is it somebody that's recognized in the industry? Second, chatter. What do people say about it? There's a coin, it's called Dime Coin. The development team were solid guys, but the chatter said that this development team is only making this coin just to make money. And everybody ran from it, all right? And then current events. You know, is China cracking down on ICOs? Is there a government coup? Because it tends to affect every coin in the market, whatever's going on in the world. So using those three factors, I look at what's going on. You know, because if there's a utility for it that it could be used for something, you know, like Amazon said they're going to start accepting Bitcoin. You know, that's a current event that development team has very little or nothing to do with. That chatter could lead you towards that, but maybe they don't know it either. So.
But this seems like something that's going to keep growing. But you're thinking,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know what, you have to look, like I'm conservative, right? So I just look at the top cryptocurrencies. I don't even venture into the lower range, because unless I'm like, oh, I hear somebody's involved, like some blockchain founder, for instance, and then I'll go, oh, well, why is he involved? What's he doing? Or it's backed by a corporation.
I live at those bottom coins. I love them.
So, but when it comes to CoinMarketCap.com, you guys, this is a really cool thing about this. Okay, so we click on Tron. It's going to pull up Tron in particular. It's going to show us where we currently are. We're over 102% right now. Their website's right here, listed at the top, so you can go directly to their website by just simply clicking there, and it'll open up. It'll go directly to their website, so you can look in detail about Tron. You can also read their white paper.
Does it look like that?
Yeah, well, it's a Chinese, it's a Chinese thing, so yeah, it does look like that.
And then,
But then when you go to the white paper, it has an English version.
yes. And this one doesn't have it, but normally there's another site under where it says website that says announcements.
Yep.
And they'll let you go into a Reddit page or a Bitcoin talk page for that.
Yeah, I'll open Bitcoin up.
That's a very good point, because one I was looking at yesterday was, I went to the Reddit page, and it was, it was starting to take off. It was up like 40%. I went to the Reddit page, and their last update was May of 2017. And then went to their Twitter, and the last Twitter was like 6 months ago. I'm like, these guys are out on a boat somewhere fishing, and this thing's still running.
Right, right. So then so you can get those 2 points that way, and then just like when that markets tab that I was explaining earlier, when you want to see, I want to buy Tron. Where can I buy Tron? Click on markets, and it lets you know the exchanges that Tron will be listed at and the percentage of activity on that exchange. So if I have an account at, wow, it's on a lot.
Well, this is Bitcoin, that's why I switched
Oh,
over to Bitcoin.
But say it's on Binance, it only had 0.04. If I'm trying to buy or sell, I can end up getting stuck because there's no activity. Nobody's moving that coin. So if I'm trying to buy it, there's no sellers. If I'm trying to sell it, there's no buyers. So you want to look at an exchange that actually has a high percentage of going on. And you may have an exchange that it doesn't have a high percentage, but you have an account there. Just make sure it's not too small of a percentage that you don't get any activity.
So if you click that markets thing, it's giving you an overview of all of the exchanges there. So. Yeah.
What percentage do you think is an okay percentage that's small, but still acceptable?
It's, first you look at percentage, second you look at volume. The percentage might be small, but if there's a decent volume, if I'm looking to move $100 worth and it has $1,500 in volume, that's enough activity. I can move that. I can move $100 because it's $1,500 going on.
But if it's multi-million, there's not enough.
Well, no, right. If I'm trying to move multi-million, there's not enough buyers for me. I don't want to go to that. So you look at those two factors to make that determination.
So Tron is also just, I think, just one of those things that has a lot of backing behind it, a lot of momentum right now, and at this price, what was it, you guys, $1?
It's 21 cents right now.
21 cents, yeah. So yeah, why not run home and grab some Tron?
Nice.
So Litecoin, you were asking about Litecoin earlier. Litecoin is an excellent, Charlie Lee, I met Charlie Lee also at a conference. Here's my picture with him. To prove it. But anyway, he approached that whole scalability issue a long time ago. He knew that they were going to have a problem with scaling. He knew that it was going to be slow transactions. He's actually the person that created the Lightning Network. He's part of that, the development team for the Lightning Network. Fast transactions, scale large, keep up with Visa, keep up with MasterCard, and beat them.
So the question was, where is Litecoin going?
Yeah,
Litecoin can easily go to $1,000.
It is $1,000.
No,
I mean,
no, not yet.
It's only $236.
Yeah, but the thing about Litecoin is Litecoin generally lags behind everything else. Bitcoin will jump, Ethereum will jump, and then Litecoin.
Right.
Yeah, it was always considered kind of a dry coin.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just behind.
And they don't have they didn't have a good marketing behind them either. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, they were, I don't know, soft in a way.
They have a pretty low supply though.
Yeah, what is the supply?
It's dropped down as far as.
I gotta go back to.
Yeah. It has all.
Circulating supply right now is 54, and then a max supply of 84. So yeah.
Yeah, Litecoin was always designed to be silver to gold. It was always meant to be the second to Bitcoin. But the thing about it was it went faster. If you're going to buy a house, you use Bitcoin. If you're going to buy a Coke, you use Litecoin. That was the idea. And that kind of principles being applied into Bitcoin with the Lightning Network. So Litecoin is still there. I've actually started using Litecoin to do my trading. Because it's cheaper
So cheap.
and it's faster. So you can use that. But the thing that Litecoin has going for it, it's established. It was the second coin created. So it's got longevity, it's got proven
It's
stability.
on the exchanges. It's
all
part
over
of the
the place.
Bitcoin IRA. You can choose that, and all these different.
It's kind of the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
You know, it's always there. You know.
It's a great buy.
They beat it up, but it's always invited to family events. You know.
I don't know about that. Can you cut that out of the video?
Sure, try that one.
Of what, Litecoin?
It's up 364% in the last 3 months.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, sir.
Pretty good.
Will Binance take Litecoin, like if you wanted to put it in your account there?
Oh yeah, and they do. You actually lose Litecoin to buy some of the altcoins too.
Yeah. Well,
some
no,
of them.
Binance does Binance dollars or BNB.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
BNB coins.
Bitcoin and Ethereum to do your trades. You can put Litecoin on Binance and then sell it for Ether or sell it for
Ether, sell it for
Bitcoin or something in that respect. But you couldn't use Litecoin to buy IOTA. You could use Ethereum to buy IOTA. You can use Ethereum to buy Litecoin, but you can't use Litecoin to buy the other stuff. There are exchanges though that you can use, like Cryptopia. You can use Litecoin to trade. You can also use Dogecoin. Yeah.
IOTA coin is a different animal altogether, and we were really lucky. Our group was very lucky because one day in November, was it November or October?
Yeah, October.
It was October. The folks showed up at our meeting. There was a group that walked in, all from German people from Berlin, and they were like, IOTA! And we're like, okay. And very adamant about how IOTA was better than anything else, which is common, right? So people that promote coins are like, they're all terrible but mine, right? So they tended to bash the other coins a lot, saying that they weren't valuable. But really, the gist of it, if they stuck to what they have there, it's totally different than any other thing because it doesn't use the blockchain. It utilizes what's called the Tangle network in order to verify transactions. So they also don't, there are no miners involved in that. So that to verify a transaction, it has to go through multiple things, multiple times, like 3 times. And that enables it to verify the transaction and through little increments. Also, IOTA is built for nano transactions, doing a lot of transactions. So it's super, super fast, but can handle a massive amount of transactions, nano transactions, right? So tiny little things here and there. So these folks are coming back in February, and they're gonna be at our Rocket Lounge meeting in downtown Fort Myers. So please come in February to meet all the folks from Berlin and IOTA. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with actually what the coin does. Go online, go to their website, check it out, see the way it functions, and they have a really good thing going on. So. And this just talks a little bit about what the difference between Tangle and the blockchain is, and how IOTA solves blockchain problems. Centralization of control, obsolete cryptography, inability to conduct micropayments, partition intolerance, discrimination of participants, scalability limits, high requirements for hardware, unlimited data growth. So they feel like they've covered everything in IOTA. They were able to tackle all of those things and become very, very valuable to people. So I think that that's an excellent coin to also put in your portfolio. And that was the top 10 for today, folks. And so I hope you learned a little bit.
Now, from this point, number one, I want to make sure everybody's signed in with their email address. This is how we can let you know about what we have coming down the pipe and different activities we're going to be doing, different growth. We have a lot of growth going on with the group now, as you see with our Endeavor meeting here. We have another expansion that we're looking to consider, or that we're we're 99% going to do with moving and starting a meeting down in Naples. So we have a lot of activities coming down the pipe, and we're going to be working with other hubs potentially to spread this around the world, and also we're going to be looking for people to work with us. Particular skills that we don't necessarily have. Like if somebody's an accountant and knows crypto, be good people to connect with. If somebody's got real estate and they need to know a coin, or they want a coin that can help with that, we can connect with those people and make them the special contributors to the group and things along those lines. If somebody has financial advice or financial experience, that's definitely something that's going to be pertinent as we grow into other endeavors and other incubation opportunities. So make sure that you sign in, and now's the...
And then normally after our meetings, we all go to a place, and tonight we're all going to Twin Peaks, which is a restaurant very close to here. I don't know if you know where that is. It's supposed to be a nice place. I've never been there. But we normally go to a place afterwards to socialize. That way you get to know some of the people that are in cryptocurrency that have been in for a while, and just kind of form bonds with each other and talk about how to make a lot of money. It's always fun.